Welcome back. Well, Fox News cameras capturing hundreds of illegal border crossings in Yacumba, California yesterday. Look at these pictures. Just 1 week since Biden's executive order on the border. Clearly, it's not stopping illegal migrants from flooding the country, as Greg Abbott confirmed to us on Sunday. Those migrants in this picture all come from countries including Turkey, India, Yemen, and Mexico. Some of them discussed this with Fox reporter Matt Finn. He asked them how they feel about President Biden right now. Watch this.
Did you pay anyone to help you get here?
No. I just searched the internet and then follow those guys. I searched the internet. Hey, got a way can come here.
What do you think of President Biden?
Biden, I love Biden.
Why do you love him?
Biden help us.
Yeah, Biden is definitely helping them, yeah. And President Biden reportedly may grant another 1 million illegal migrants amnesty. Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Earl Buddy Carter. He's a member of the House Budget and Energy and Commerce Committees. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So, Congressman, I mean, yesterday I spoke with the governor of Texas, and he said there's been absolutely no change since the executive order that Biden came out with on the border. We're 5 months before an election. Clearly, he's doing this for political reasons because there's all these carve-outs, and it still means millions of people coming into the country. What is your reaction to the president's executive order on the border when we see all these pictures of people flooding the country still every day?
It's obviously that this is politically motivated. The president knows he's underwater. He knows that he's got to do something to address what many people in my district, many people across America consider to be the #1 issue, that and the economy. That's what they're concerned about. And that's what the president understands and the people around the president understand. That's why he's trying to do this. Unfortunately, it's too little too late. The damage has already been done. When you break it, you own it. And he broke it. I mean, let's face it, day one, when he took office, he sent a message. He said, whatever Donald Trump did at the border, I'm going to do just the opposite. And he's done that. And it has resulted in a porous border where we've had over 9.5 million encounters of illegal immigrants, where we've had 1.8 million known getaways, where it's costing Americans now $150 billion a year, almost $1,200 for every taxpayer to pay for these illegal immigrants. It's ridiculous what he's doing at this border. Instead of putting a wall up, he's put a open for business sign up.
Yeah, Congressman, let me get your take on this explosive new video that is raging, and it is Nancy Pelosi admitting that she's responsible for the lack of security on January 6th, saying that she did not call in the National Guard. I take responsibility. She's trying to dismiss this explosive new video that's out. But what you were there, right? What happened, and how come there was no National Guard on January 6th? And how come all those people are still in jail who were in Washington on January 6th?
Well, those are great questions. Why wasn't the National Guard? Why weren't they called in? Why didn't she take responsibility then? I would submit to you that it's my feelings that she wanted chaos. She wanted all this to happen. She didn't want to prevent this at all. And you're absolutely right. Look, I have condemned this since day one. I was there. I was one of the last people to leave the floor, and I was forced to leave. I didn't want to leave, but I did leave, and I will tell you, those people, what they did was wrong, and they should be arrested. They should be prosecuted. They should be given due diligence. They should be given their rights, and they're not being given their rights. And that's what bothers me so much. So why are they still in jail? Why haven't they been brought before the courts already?
Mm-hmm. And now she's on MSNBC trying to dismiss this video. And why was her daughter shooting a video while everybody's going nuts around her? How did that happen, that she's over there shooting a video and she's got her mother on camera saying, I take responsibility for not calling the National Guard in?
Well, again, this is a situation where she wanted chaos. They want anything they can blame on Donald Trump. Look, they can beat him in the jury box, but they can't beat him at the ballot box. That's what they don't understand. They're not going to be able to beat him at the ballot box.
Let me move on to the economics of the moment, because you're talking about some serious ineptitude. We were at 40-year highs inflation. Americans are expecting inflation to continue to be elevated in the next 5 years, according to a key New York Fed survey. The median expectation is that inflation jumps another 3.2% in a year. The United States has borrowed a stunning $1.2 trillion in the first 8 months of the fiscal year, according to the Congressional Budget Office. That averages to $4.9 billion a day. A day, all on Joe Biden's watch. And yet Fox News obtains a White House memo claiming that MAGAnomics would mean an inflation spiral or an inflation bomb, Congressman. How do they get away with attacking Trump's economy when it was a growth story in the face of growth with inflation here? Congressman, I know you posted this on X. You write this: 3 years ago, when President Biden took the Oval Office, Americans were paying $12,000 less for basic goods than they are now. Thanks, Joe Biden, you write. Tell us more.
Obviously, what has happened here is that this administration's war on fossil fuels, first thing he did when he got into office was to do away with the Keystone XL pipeline. He declared war on American energy, and that's resulted in inflation. Remember, inflation was at 1.4% when he took office, and now they want to take credit because it got all the way up to 7%. Well, we cut it in half. You know, Maria, that's like saying, well, 2 years ago, I gained 20 pounds, but last year I only gained 10 pounds. Well, you still gained 30 pounds over the last 2 years. Get real. This is ridiculous here, what is going on with this economy. And this president could stop this, and President Trump will stop it because he'll unleash American energy. Much of what has happened in inflation is due to high gas prices, high grocery prices, and that's what people are struggling with in my district right now. They are having trouble affording food, basic items like that, and as a result of the energy prices.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that President Biden is going to make it to the election here, or do you think he withdraws, Congressman? There's a lot of conversation about what we're watching in real time from President Biden, and some people in the Democrat Party want him to step down.
A lot of people in the Democratic Party want him to step down. And I'm asked this question quite often when I'm in the district, when I'm in Washington. Do you think he's going to make it to their convention? I don't know. I honestly, it would not surprise me one way or the other. I still don't think he's cognitively capable of it, physically capable of performing these duties. Obviously, we need another candidate.
All right, we will see. Thanks very much. Congressman, it's good to see you. Buddy Carter joining us this morning on all of that. Thank you, sir.